which we mentioned earlier, which was write about the importance of SEO for brand building, you can mention a better prompt. Okay, so what is the better prompt? You can simply, but you can take it, just type it out in your ChatGPT windows as well. So basically, whatever your context is, you need to provide it to ChatGPT and it will yield you the response that you are looking for. So over here, since we wanted to email the client about the same, so we can mention the exact same thing. As a digital marketer, write an email to your client mentioning about the importance of SEO for brand building and why they should start with their SEO ASAP. So over here, you are asking ChatGPT to make a response, make an email basically, which you can send directly to your client, telling them about the importance of SEO for brand building, and then basically telling them that they should start with their SEO ASAP. Now this would help you as a digital marketer. It would help you because if the client actually decides to start SEO after reading your email, they can simply hire you for the service that you provide. So this is like a way of doing email marketing as well. Like you can create your email content like this. So let me input this particular prompt and see what the result is. Now see, look at the difference between this particular result and that result. This result is good for research base. It tells you about the importance of SEO for brand building. But this particular result, this is the ultimate thing. It tells you everything that you should be mentioning in the email itself. Basically, it has just reduced your effort. Like if to create something like this, if to research something like this, you took 30 minutes earlier, and then to write the email you took 30 minutes more. So it was 1 hour of worth of effort. Over here, this is just like 15 seconds worth of effort. Okay, you just need to enter a good prompt and it will output, it will yield you the result, which is something like this, which is basically, you just need to copy paste it and just make very very few changes to it and you'll be done with it. So look at it, the subject, the importance of SEO for brand building, dear client name, I hope this email finds you well. So it's a very professional email, right? It's a very professional email which you can actually use it directly. It tells you about the reasons why you should be doing SEO for brand building as well. And again, it ends with a good note. Thank you for considering the importance of SEO in your brand building strategy. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. So there's a very good chance that you will get a response from the client and may be able to convert that lead into actually a paying customer as well. So this is how you can, leverage ChatGPT for such purposes. Okay, let's move on to the next. So these were the first two examples of providing context. I hope you're getting a glimpse of why exactly context is important. You see the difference in results, right? When you provide context versus when you don't provide context. I'll give you one more example to make things more clear for you. So okay, so now comes, basically, I guess a lot of you might have, watched the series Game of Thrones, or you might have read the books about Game of Thrones. So let's say if you have to write a story about dragons, okay? If you're given a task on writing a story about dragons, very interesting it sounds, right? Like, so let me just type it out. Write story about dragons. Okay, so now look at it. So you will get a very good response on, and basically you will get a story about dragons. It has made some random story. I am not sure if this is a real story. Once upon a time in a land far away, there lived a fierce dragon named Ember. Ember was the ruler of mountains and the protector of skies. He had deep scales that shone in the sun, and his roar was louder than thunder. So, I guess the story is pretty interesting. I'm not sure if this is a real story, but the story seems interesting. The first paragraph itself seems to set the tone of the entire story. But to be very honest, someone who has watched so much of Game of Thrones and the following series as well after that, if I am hearing a story or reading a story about dragons, would somewhat relate it to Westeros, or to Game of Thrones in some way, or to George R.R. Martin in some way. Now here comes to the second, one more beauty about ChatGPT. What you can actually do, you can tell ChatGPT the kind of story, the kind of style it should follow in order to write that story. Be it a poem, be it a story, you can simply tell ChatGPT, this is the writing style I want you to follow, and it will follow that. Now look at the difference when I enter the prompt like this. So instead of just writing a story about dragons, now I ask ChatGPT, write a story about dragons in the style of George R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin, for all of you who don't know, he was the writer of this particular book called, Game of Thrones, and the entire web series, I'm sure you must have heard about it if you have not watched it, was on this particular book itself, and George R.R. Martin was the storyteller about that particular book. Now, when I mention ChatGPT that I want you to write about this story in the style of George R.R. Martin, now look at the result that you will be getting. So look at it. Let's give it a few seconds and it will respond. Okay, now look at it. Okay, so in the land of Westeros, there were tales of ancient dragons that once ruled the skies. They were fearsome creatures with scales as hard as steel and breath that could melt stone. So for those of you know, this is the exact writing style of George R.R. Martin. Like, it's very similar. This is something that I can really tell you. If you have not watched the series, if you have watched it, you would already know that it is very similar. So this is the beauty, right? Like, if you're writing a poem, if you're writing a blog piece, if you're writing a story, if you're writing anything basically, and if there is a famous personality whose style you want ChatGPT to replicate, you can simply mention that and it will do that. So yeah, this is also one very interesting way of providing context to ChatGPT to get the kind that you are looking for. So this was about the first tip for the day, first tip for writing effective prompts. I hope you all have noted everything down on a piece of paper, and like the way I was practicing it in my particular system, I want you all to open ChatGPT, watch the lecture probably again if you want to, and practice each and everything that word in this particular lecture, because this is, practicing it is gonna, help you get better at it. You can try new examples, just take on random examples and write a normal prompt, write a basic prompt, write a prompt with context and see the difference. You will get it yourself. So that's it for this particular lecture. I'll see you in the next one.